Hello student, this is Saurabh Avasthi from Mount Literaji School. Now today we are going to study an elementary school classroom in a slum, a poem which is written by Stephen Spender, which is based on social injustice and class inequalities. So here we are going to start with the poem today. So first we are going to study about the poem. So first I will read the poem and then we will start with the summary of the poem. Okay, so let's begin. This is first stanza. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round, the paler, the tall girl with her wake down head, the paper seeming boy with red eyes, the stunted unlucky hair of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet, and young. His eyes live in a dream of a squirrel's game in tree room other than this. Now the next stanza is, on sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, wild flowery Tyrole's valley, open-handed map, avoiding the world, its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, the world where all their futures painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes and stars of words. Now the third stanza. Surely, Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel, with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space a foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as dome. Finally, the fourth stanza comes here. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break, oh break, open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open, history, their whose language is the sun. Here students, in this poem you can see that this poem is divided into four stanzas, where you can see in the first stanza it is given about the childrens who are sitting in the class. Second stanza you will see that the classroom is described. In the third stanza you will see that it has been described about the different problems through which these people are suffering through. And finally, in the last stanza, you will see about the inspector, educationist, that means all the dignitaries who are here in the society, you will read about them. So, now we should start with the explanation of the poem. So, let's begin with an elementary school classroom in a slum. Okay, let's begin with the summary of the poem, students. Here, in the first stanza, Spender describes the miserable condition of the children. The faces of the children are unlike the usual children of schools. Instead of being energetic, they are like rootless weeds, withered and worn out. They are unclean and untidy, as they are malnourished, sick, and hungry, just as weeds are not wanted in the garden. So are these children of the slum unwanted in the society. They have pale faces, their hair is uncombed. A tall, slim girl has her head bowed down as though she is exhausted physically because of malnutrition and emotionally because of poverty. The other students of the class are also in the same situation. There is a boy who is as thin as paper. Again, because of malnutrition and lack of civic amenities, he has eyes like that of a rat, searching for food and betterment. Another child in the class, who is a victim of genetic disorder, has gnarled bones and stunted growth. He has inherited this debilitating disease from his father and recites his lesson from his desk. In a mellow and weak voice, in one corner of this poorly lit and ill equipped class is a sweet, unnoticed young child lost in the world of his dreams. The dull and monotonous classroom does not interest him, and hence his mind deviates towards the squirrels in her tree room. He too dreams of fun and frolic in an open space. So this was the first stanza, students. Now let's see that what is there in the second stanza. In the second stanza, the poet describes the dirty classroom. On the walls are displayed the names of people who have given donations. The bust of Shakespeare is displayed in the clear background of the sky. Walls have pictures of the beautiful Taylor's Valley as well as a map of the world. The children's eyes can only view a narrow road enclosed with a dull sky. It is quite a dreary and depressing place for children. Now in the third stanza, the pensive poet suddenly turns belligerent, that means aggressive, and feels that Shakespeare is a wicked. This is because he misleads the children. He shows them a beautiful world of ships, sun, and love, which is not only unreal for them but has a corrupting influence on these children and instigates them to steal and try to escape from their cramped holes. Their existence is indeed very sad. These emaciated children are so thin that it appears that they are wearing only skins. The spectacles they are wearing have glass, which has been broken and mended. Their entire appearance reeks of their deprivation. The poet shows his outrage by suggesting that the maps on their walls should show huge slums instead of beautiful science graphics. This was third stanza. Now, finally, in the last stanza, the poet reveals the appalling truth that there can be no change for the better unless a governor, a school inspector, or an educationist or a visitor comes to the school. The map in their classroom is the only medium for the children to view the world outside their slums. The windows of their classroom shut them and confine them to their world of poverty and helplessness. Here, the poet next appeals to those people who are in power to liberate these slum children from the gory life that they are leading. He also exhorts the people themselves to break open these windows, which appear to have sealed the fate of these children. He would like to see these children bask in the educational facilities in this world and run carefree on the golden sands and enjoy a new lease of life and freedom. The poet earnestly desires that each and every child should be able to enjoy the fundamental right to freedom. They should have access to all kinds of books, new as well as old. They should also be able to learn from nature around them. So, here at last, Spender ends the poem on a positive note as he expresses his belief that people who are ignited by the spirit of knowledge and learning are the ones who create history. So finally, the poem brings forth the miserable condition of the children of the slum and the inadequate educational facilities provided to them. The poem also talks about the racial discrimination and proclamation that a country can prosper only if education reaches to the downtrodden in the society. Okay, so this was summary. Now we end up here today. Now we will meet with the question answers and little more part of this poem in the next video. Thank you so much.